So Swamiji, I want to talk a little bit about the specific practice that you offer.
Right.
Among the many practices I know that you offer, this particular one called Nirguna meditation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically the Nirguna meditation is, you can say it's a little bit of for someone who has some experience on the spiritual path.
Okay.
Or some understanding.
Okay.
So when we talk about Nirguna meditation, this is not something that really it is not my creation. These are things that there was there in our Vedic scriptures. So what I noticed in that was that the ultimate pointers, the ultimate pointers of all these paths, especially the contemplative paths, is what they call the realization of the self, or the knowing of one's true nature. And what is this true nature? This is not something that has a certain specific form, like we can say, like the mountains. It has green, brown form,
Right.
and color, and certain such a shape.
Right.
So those are all what is the saguna thing. So with the initial part of our practices, we take some saguna, meaning some form of some shape, color, attribute,
Got it.
and we meditate on that.
On that.
That in itself is not the goal of all these practices. The goal of all these practices is that you know your true nature. And as we were talking, you find that ultimate happiness.
Right.
And where is this ultimate happiness? This ultimate happiness is knowing yourself, your true self. So here Nirguna meditation is actually, you can say, like 24/7, All our activities in our daily life, on what attitude we approach that, and also how do we, what is the vision, what is our ultimate vision? If our ultimate vision is in line with a deeper reality, then every activity in our life is naturally transformed. We don't even need to make an effort and say like, okay, this moment I will be mindful or I'll meditate. That vision itself transforms everything you see.
Okay.
So like just like how we are talking now, and
It's effortless.
Yes, the natural flow in
Yeah.
that.
So for people who are very early in the process,
Yes.
who haven't done any of this, and for whom meditation itself is new. Of course, they've
Yes.
probably done a little bit of the, watching your breath or Om or whatever. What do you offer to them?
Yeah, so there are traditionally two ways. One is that path of studying the Vedantic texts. So
Right.
even now I teach Vedantic texts.
Right. And that can start from very early
that can-
introductory,
yes.
just starting to understand the
Absolutely.
Vedic tradition, the Vedantic tradition, and then
Yes.
from there moving on to
Yeah, all the, like we have in Vedanta, all the Prakarana texts, so you start with the basic text.
Right.
You can study all that, and then gradually you study the Upanishads and all that.
But all of that, it is possible to integrate into your life.
Absolutely.
Right.
That is the ultimate purpose.
That is the point,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So Swamiji, now we've traversed a long path
Yes.
now in terms of multiple things that we've discussed. Now I want to get into how does all of this, the Nirguna meditation and the other practices that you teach, how does it change my life, an individual's life?
See, at a very practical level, some of the things that most of us have challenges with, is one is the habits of life, how we live our life.
Right.
These days, of course, we are addicted to a lot of things. If not like drinks and other things, just our own smartphones and all that. We can spend hours in that,
Correct.
and we know how that gnaws into other aspects of our life.
Correct. Correct.
And then the other aspect is that, see, there's a constant sense of fear or anxiety about the future. We all carry.
Yeah.
Even though if we don't know about it. In fact, even in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, one of the biggest kleshas they say is fear of death. We all carry that. It's at a very subconscious level.
Correct.
And then there is other things which we think we carry from our past, like the traumas and things.
Right.
And they have a way of subconsciously and even consciously guiding us, You know, we fear taking some actions which we should take for
And
our
we don't know
progress.
why we are scared of doing
Yeah,
that. But
yeah. So a lot of these and these play at the psychological level, physiological level.
Right.
At the very fundamental level, what is happening when our vision is right, you know, what happens is that our whole perspective to life changes, and that struggle we do constantly to change these habits.
But how does the practice play into this? How
Ah.
does it address that?
Yes. So what the practices does is slowly and daily, you know, it changes you at 3 levels. Okay, one is at the level of your interactions with people. You know, my perceptions, my interactions with people. You know, at that level, it starts playing out, and so I start seeing that this essential thing which I take to give me happiness. You know, when that internal shift has started happening, then the outward, my grasping at that starts to loosen, because that inward thing starts telling me, you know, that this what I'm grasping at. So I don't need to necessarily kind of figure out like, okay, this food itself will not give me happiness, you know, or this you know, seeking after this thing, you know, I should stop that. So I don't have to consciously like do like all, sometimes, you know, we can get too obsessed with all this mindfulness and all this, like what is my thoughts, so it's endless, these processes. But if your inner shift has happened, and what the practice is doing is working at this inner level, that perspective, that vision that you do. So that first level is at the perception, second level is at the level of your thoughts and feelings. So where does this all start? When it starts from that subjective level, when I realize my true inner happiness or what I truly am, then slowly the thoughts I'm having, you know, those thoughts are not that much based on, driven by my senses. You know, those thoughts are then guided by my internal sense of well-being. When I find my true home, you know, then I don't have to keep looking outside. You know, where will I stay, where will I go, and all that. I know there is this home within me, you know, no matter what happens. So that all that fears, you know, which drives our activities, what this practice is telling you is that you come home, and then what happens is your thinking changes, your perception changes. So much so that at that point where that day you grasp at that thing that you shouldn't be doing, like maybe that drink or the chocolate or the drugs or whatever, you know, that immediately you realize like this is not going to really give me happiness. But it takes some time, but this is where that real shift happens.
So that's great. So that's perception.
Yes.
And then there is thoughts
and feelings.
And
then the third is that subjective sense of who I am. This is that, you know, where in our mind we have a subjective sense of who I am.
Yeah, which we've built.
We have built
Right.
through our interaction with the world and through my sense perceptions, you know.
Can you give me
Yeah.
a little bit of a glimpse into the practice?
I can definitely do that.
All right, let's do that.
So in this meditation, the main thing is to bring our awareness to awareness itself. Just to become aware of the Ganga that's flowing. So just as the flowing, gentle flow of Ganga, lot of things are in movement in our body. You know, there is movement of blood, there's movement of air in our lungs, in and out. Then there is at the mental level our thoughts. So all these are also in movement. Now, just as we are aware while looking at this river and the background of this Himalayan mountains, there is a deep abiding stillness in the Himalayan mountains. And this stillness makes it possible for us to become aware of the movement of the Ganga. This awareness is the true essence of my being. It is my true nature. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And gently as you open your eyes, you can hold on to that sense of awareness. And from that space of awareness, you can move, you can talk, knowing that in this awareness, in this activity of my body, my speech, my mind, is this background awareness, which is always pure, which is always of that one essential nature of my own being. Namaste.